Hey guys, welcome to another video. So in this video we'll be talking about search parameters. Okay, so in previous videos we saw how dynamic route works. Okay, how can we how can we use dynamic routes to extract URL parameters with the help of use params. But there is another way with which we can change our URL, and that method is, or that concept is, search parameters. Okay, so search parameters are also a type of URL parameters, but they are different from route parameters. Okay, so let's look an example to understand it better. Here is an example. Okay, now this is our browser and I have passed this URL, localhost 3000/users !gender is equals to male. So in this case, this is our base URL. Okay, that means the base site where our site is hosted. Then /users, it's a route parameter. It tells us where our resource users is. And although React doesn't work with server like that, but I've just made it so as to clear the concept of search parameters. So we are talking in a general sense. Okay, we are not talking specifically about React. We are talking in a general sense. So in most of the sites are server based sites. So in that cases, what happens is, suppose this is users, it's going to tell us which resource it's talking about. So it is talking about the users, and then anything, the string after this question mark, it's going to tell us the search parameters. Okay, it can be more than one. I have just taken one, that is, it's going to be in the key value pair. Okay, so the gender is the key and male is the parameter. And we can also add many key value pairs by separating them with ampersand. So in this case, if I pass the site, what is gonna happen? We're gonna get the users, but we're gonna get the users filtered, and only those users with the gender male are gonna be displayed here on the browser. Okay, now how this works in React, let's look at that. So I'm gonna create another route which would be users. I'm gonna quickly create it. So first of all, I'm gonna go to route here. I'm gonna create another route. And the path to it would be users. Let's just add this. And I haven't created elements, so I'm gonna create another element. I'm gonna say users.js. RFCE, and in the app.js I'm gonna say element is equals to users, so closing. I'm gonna also add a nav link here. Okay, that is it, I think. Then in the users, what I'm gonna do is, now I need some users list. Okay, so for that I'm gonna go to dummy.json. Here I'm gonna use this resource. We talked about dummy.json in our previous video where we fetched a product from this website. So I'm gonna use this similar concept here. Instead of products, I'm gonna use user. I'm gonna copy this code, and here first of all I'm going to create a state that's going to hold the users data, set users data is equals to use state. It's going to automatically import it from React, and the initial would be an empty array. After that I'm going to use effect to fetch the API. It's going to be a callback function. Okay, and in that I'm gonna paste my data here. Okay, now so we have pasted this API fetching commands here. Okay, so this should get us the data that we need. Instead of products, I'm gonna say users, and I want all of them. And first of all, let's see what it is giving up. So here it is. There you see we have a property users and it has the value of an array. It consists of 30 users, so we can use that. Now I'm gonna remove this console log and I'm gonna set users data as the json.users. Okay, now what we want is that, first of all, let's change this a bit. Okay, I'm gonna add an h1 tag. I'm gonna say users. Now I'm gonna create two buttons. Here it will say that show mail users. Okay, now the next button would be to reset the filter. Okay, reset filter. Both of them would have an on click event, on click button, so I'm gonna write on click. Okay, I'm gonna write it afterwards, so let's just remove this for now. Now there is one thing that is provided by React Router DOM, and that is a hook, which is use search params. You see this is auto imported by React Router DOM, so it is very similar to useState. Okay, it is also gonna return two things in the form of array, so we're gonna use array destructuring to get those things. First would be a search param, and which is quite similar to the current state in the useState syntax, and the next would be set search params. Okay, now remember we made these buttons. Now here in the on click events, on click, what I'm gonna do is, now whenever I click on show mail users, I want my search params to change. That means I want to append a query string in my URL. And how would that be appended? So we are going to use set search params, and in that we're going to pass an object. Okay, this is in the form of an object because we have to pass multiple prop key value pairs. That is why it is taken object, and in that I'm going to say gender, and I want it to be male. Whereas in the reset filter, we're gonna add on click function, but we're gonna keep this search set search params as an empty object. Okay, now let's see if it's working or not. So let's reload our app. Okay, there is an error. Where it is? Okay, so we have to, let's save this. Okay, now we have this. Let's reload. Okay, when I click on this show mail users, you can see that gender is equals to mail query string is automatically appended into our URL. When I click on reset, it disappears. So how can we use this functionality to actually make changes in our app? So in the next line, what I'm going to do is I'm going to say const mail users is equals to search params dot get gender is equals to male. Now what does this line mean? Okay, so don't worry, let's understand this. So this mail users, it is similar to a boolean state. Okay, what is happening in the LHS is that we are calling search params and we are using a get method. So we are saying that look into the object search params and get the gender property. If its value is similar or equal to male, then make this true, and if it's not true, it will be obviously false. So every time the app is rendered or any changes are there, we're going to have a different value for this mail users. Now I'm going to use conditional rendering to implement that. So let's say mail users. Now if this is true, what I want to happen is that I'm gonna return a list. Sorry, I want to return an unordered list, and in that unordered list, what I want to do is I want all the mail users that are there. Okay, so I'm gonna say that users data. First of all, I'm gonna filter it. Okay, I'm gonna get the array of all the mail users, and I'm gonna do that user and only pass it if user dot gender is male. Okay, that is what we did. And once we have filtered our array, we have to map it user, and I just want to return in li tag, so I'm not gonna. Let's add a key prop. Let's give it the user dot id. Okay, now let me look at the JSON here. So we have an id. Okay, then we have first name. Let us just display the first name. So in the li, I'm just gonna display user dot first name. Okay, that is it. Now let's just copy this whole thing, and if it's not true, which is not true, mail users, that means our filter is not on. Think of it as an on and off switch. If the mail users is true, that means we have turned on our filter, and if it's false, we have turned off our filter. So the filter is turned off, then we just have to remove this filter line, and rest stays the same. Okay, I think this is pretty much it that we need. Let's just see the changes. Let's reload. Okay, so there are all our users. Okay, now if I click on show mail users, you can see that the list has decreased. Now we cannot check, but I hope this would have been working fine. I don't know, I'm just hoping this works because the concept used is similar. Let's just check. I think trace, let's just trace. So I hope we can find trace here. Trace, okay, there it is, trace. Let's see the gender. Okay, you can see the gender is male. Okay, so this is it. This is how we can use search parameters with React Router in our React application. Thank you for watching this video. Like this video, subscribe to my channel, and I'll see you in the next one.